We're moving out, moving in. Well, I roll up to get knocked down again. There's gotta be something good somewhere I ain't been. And that's what gets me on the move again. Well, I'm a long way from Texas, but I still feel the heat. Where a rumor starts a fire like there's gas in the street. And what you hear in a small town, well, it ain't always the truth. And it's a great big world and I'm on the move. I'm moving out, I'm moving in. Well, I roll up to get knocked down again. There's gotta be something good somewhere I ain't been. And that's what gets me on the move again. You wanna take it?
Hey, what's up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here with Marty Music, hanging out in Nashville, Tennessee with my friend and amazing guitar player, artist, singer, producer, and just all-around nice gentleman, Tyler Bryant.
Thanks for having me.
I can hear all that huge applause out there. It's so nice to have you, man. I mean, I've been a fan for so long, and you do so many different things, but you also just happen to have a brand new album out. And so we're gonna leave a link below for all your different social media, but also go listen to the new album right down there. Nice to have you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me by, man. I'm happy to be here.
So Strats all the way from the beginning of playing guitar?
You know, my first electric guitar that I've saved up money to buy was an Epiphone Les Paul.
Okay.
And I still have it. And a lot of people would probably be surprised to know that because I think people just think about me with Strats. But
Sure.
I put an Epiphone Les Paul on layaway at Holly Bond Music in Paris, Texas.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're from Texas.
Yeah. And so I made payments on it every month and was mowing yards and selling what I could sell.
Who was the inspiration for guitar during that time? Like,
oh man, well, it all kind of started around in this music store. I think I walked in on the right day and I met this guy named Roosevelt Twitty.
okay,
And
great name.
Yeah, and he was a bluesman. He was sitting down playing like Lightning Hopkins style blues, like the where the turnaround is always. And he was doing that, and I remember just being blown away. Like it knocked me out. But he would sing like Texas Flood over a progression like that.
Right.
And I was just. He said, "Do you like the blues?" I said, "I don't know what it is." And he said, "This is the blues." I said, "I love it. Sign me up."
Well, so he was like a little early mentor and inspiration.
Oh my gosh!
Did he teach you? Or?
He told my parents. He said, "Your son seems really passionate about doing this, and I'd like to teach him." And both of my parents always worked multiple jobs growing up, so I think they were like, "Oh man, we don't know about this. Is he going to try to like charge us a bunch of money?" And he didn't want $1. He just wanted to teach me what I was clearly, so intrigued by. And he became my best friend. We started a band called the Blues Buddies after like a year, 2 years. And I remember sitting in his living room, and he would pick me up from school until like his vision got to the point where he couldn't drive, and then I'd go pick him up and bring him over because I could drive at that point. And we would just sit there and play old blues tunes, and he would say, just go up to the 12th fret and play around till it sounds good to you. And so for me, it was an environment where I felt comfortable messing up in.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing I'm really grateful for, because a lot of people get discouraged because you're never good when you first start, and you've got to kind of work it out and figure out what you...
And a lot of people don't want to, they want to go from, point A to point Z without going through the whole alphabet. I don't know, I've never used that analogy or metaphor before, but I have said a lot, like it's gonna sound kind of crappy, and the idea is that the more you do it, it's just gonna keep sounding a little less crappy, and other people will notice probably before you do. You know, if you come back and you hadn't been you know, they hadn't seen you for a couple weeks and you've been playing or practicing, you come back and it's a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did he show you like in the very beginning?
Oh, well, I mean, he was like, taught me about Jimmy Reed, you know. You know, that kind of thing that we all start with. But then, and he would try to get me to play rhythm and solo at the same time. You know, that kind of thing where you're playing the rhythm, but you're still saying something. This was Mr. Twitty's turnaround, and here we go. And then the Texas.
Whoa. Something I figured out recently was like the lick within the one, or like the 4 chord and the 5 chord, but a lick if you're going. When you go to the. You know, like the first note of the lick is the top 3 strings of the chord.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love that.
And you always hear, obviously, the...
Yeah.
But you could go... Oh,
yeah. And you know, one thing that like opened up a lot for me was when I realized, and I think Mr. Twitty told me this. He was like, when you find some notes that work, rearrange them.
Yeah,
you know. And so it'd be that. Or repetition, rearrange. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, did you see my face? I was like,
I love it.
I think it's stuck.
That's a good compliment. I do that all the time when I'm watching shows. You're nasty. You're nasty.
Yeah, and then and then it's one of those guitarist stereotypes, but
Stank face.
It's the truth, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, that was sweet. You also said you don't know any music theory, but you know there's such a spectrum to that statement, you know, because it's like Kurt Cobain was like, no theory, and I don't think anyone should learn theory, but his ear was using things that had movement and melody and harmony and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And if you like did know theory, you could describe what it is, but he was using all of that.
So
just like you
all
are.
roads kind of lead to this.
Just like you are, like, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to a little bit of the major pentatonic with, and then I go back to minor pentatonic with the flat
I've learned
5.
enough about it hanging out with smarter people, you know, whenever.
Yeah.
Like I know what certain chords are called, and I know what key I'm playing in, and I know the difference between major and minor, but, you know, this town is littered with brilliant people. You know, who can play soulfully and explain it too, you know? You. I mean, you know.
Thank you. I've been very drawn to this magical place here. And your wife is from Larkin Poe, because you were talking about your marriage at Songbirds.
Yeah.
Did you guys meet in Nashville?
Yeah, we were introduced by one of my favorite producers and engineers, Vance Powell. Vance was, you know, just talking with their management, and I had made a couple records with him, and he said, I think that Lark and Poe should get together with Tyler. I think that they would be able to collaborate really well together. And he sent me a couple of their demos, and I was just like, I have to meet this person. And we became pen pals for probably 6 months, and then we curated this like 1,000-song playlist of what we were into. And it probably took us like a couple years to actually start writing music together, but you know, I asked her to be my wife pretty quick. It was very weird because we'd gotten to know each other so well, and then next thing you know, we're sitting in front of each other, and all of the insecurities, they start coming up, and it's like, oh my gosh. You know what I thought? I thought if I can get this girl over to my studio, she can see all my badass guitars, it's gonna be like game over. And she walked in and she goes, wow, it sure is a lot to carry through life. It's fun. We live in a house where, you know, guitars are sort of fair game. She borrows my guitars, I borrow her guitars, and
sounds right.
And we've been making records together, and we both just received Grammys for their last record, which is incredible.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Thank you.
It's just couldn't be a cooler thing.
I've like always kind of felt like an underdog in my life, and so I moved to Nashville when I was 17 and left my family. Came here to write songs. I came here to start a band, and you know, did a publishing deal, started writing songs, and was like, I have to. It's always been about how can I do music every day as much as I can, and a product of fully immersing myself in music has, you know, been learning how to record. And that's also, you know, the deeper you go, the more you can fall in love and find new inspiration, and recordings become...
And literally fall in love.
Yeah, that too. We've made the majority of that Blood Harmony record in our home studio. So it's really cool that it's like gone out and done well for them, and it's opened up a lot of doors for me to work with other artists and find new inspiration as well.
Now, as musicians, that term Blood Harmony I'm very familiar with, but something special that happens with a vocal harmony when they're genetically related.
Yeah.
There could, growing up together, coming from the same DNA, but maybe also the instrument being organically
I'm sure
similar.
there's science somewhere.
Yeah. You have a new album. I want to make sure we talk about that. You know, your management label, PR people, and your lawyer all hammered me today about.
Did they?
Yeah. About.
You know that came from me. I'm just kidding.
You have different names for each.
Yeah. Our new album's called Electrified. It just came out, and we
Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown.
Yeah, Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. Electrified. It's a rock and roll record. You know, we got riffs like. Stuff like that, where it just kind of, there's some driving songs. There's clearly I grew up loving the blues, so there's a lot of like nods to that and the traditions that we value.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have links below for the album and your social media and all of that. So if people like blues and rock, you think they would like it?
I think they would. I like it. You know, I like it. So that's the whole reason I got into this was to like hopefully try and make people feel the way that I felt when somebody was like, check out Johnny Winter, or hey, you know, I used to, like, I'm sure you had records like that. Like for me, when I got Albert King, Livewire, Blues Power, I would just sit there and listen to it, be like, everyone needs to know about this, you know?
Yeah. So wait, how old were you when you started playing?
For real, about 11.
And that's when you met the guy?
Yeah, that's when I met Mr. Twitty. I had a guitar prior to that, and I was just obsessed with Elvis, so I carried that around, but I didn't take it quite serious.
Yeah, well, you were pretty young, dude.
You know, a guitar is it was just a thing until I found music, you know?
Your dad play at all, or?
No one in my family played. I had a grandpa that I saw every so often, and he had an Ovation acoustic, you know, one of those ones that doesn't stay on your lap.
Oh yeah.
and I was blown away by that. And he let me play that every now and then, and I learned to play Crocodile Rock, and I learned how to play this riff for Summer of '69.
Oh yeah,
which is a great one.
That is a good one, yeah.
But they wouldn't let me play it at the First Baptist Church in Honey Grove, Texas. That's the only music venue in my hometown.
Okay. That was too secular.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to play like, I wanted to play riffs and and rock.
Yeah. Well, you do now, so
yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about the guitars you brought.
There's a lot of people who think this was my original pink Strat. My original pink Strat was stolen from me. It's a guitar that I...
it was like you were identified with the pink Strat?
Yeah.
And it was stolen?
It was stolen and missing for 5.5 years, and I got it back. And that's the guitar that like I moved to Nashville with. I toured with Jeff Beck with that guitar. I got to play it with him. He played it,
Amazing.
backstage. And so I was really upset when the guitar went missing because it was part of, how it is with a guitar that you become accustomed to.
I do.
And when that guitar went missing, my parents took out a loan, got me this guitar, and I've been carrying this around forever. A friend of mine hand etched this pick guard, and when I put this pick guard on, I found a note soldered into the body from my family. And so for me, this guitar just, it means a lot to me. And I brought this to show you because I'm proud of it. Fender did a signature model of it. And so I asked him to leave all the paint on because this is how this guitar looked whenever when
you first got it. Yeah.
And Tim Shaw made the humbucker. It sounds amazing. And at this point now, like at a shakedown show, there's always a million pink guitars in the guitar vault. So these are the identifying labels.
So that's your number one.
This is my number one guitar. Yeah.
And you bring that out with you and stuff?
Yeah. Everywhere.
But it sure is cool to have this.
It sounds great. This sounds awesome too. Feels great, and it's been cool to have more of them. You know?
Do you break strings much, or
every now and then?
Not too crazy.
Not too crazy.
How often are we changing strings?
Every 2 shows.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a real sweater, which most of
That's
them are.
what's the real problem with string breaking is the sweat. Right?
I need to change these strings because I've done 4 shows on this set, and I just.
You sweat on them, and then they dry, and then there's a little bit of corrosion and rust.
I brought this resonator to show you. This is pretty
let's
cool.
check this thing out.
This is one of a couple resonators that I tour with, and I brought you a slide today, too.
I know, man. I appreciate that. This slide is so cool.
It's
let's
pink.
see. It's pink, but it's also got a little divot.
Yeah. I did a signature slide with rock slide, and it works good. Sounds good. Sometimes the thing that you set out to do is not the thing that you end up focusing on, nor should it be. You know? I mean, I think about like me getting into recording, and
because you produce tons of records.
Yeah, but I did that because I wanted to get. I was like, I'm just going to learn how to record my own songs, not even realizing that I would be creatively fulfilled by recording other people. And
amazing.
And so sometimes it's like, just keeping your eyes open, and staying quick on your feet. Graham, the other guitarist in the Shakedown, and we both got asked to play this private party for Jimmy Page when he put out his photo book.
Wow.
And
where was it?
It was at the Sunset Marquis in Los Angeles. It was like a private dinner.
Yeah.
And they said, we want you to do a Zeppelin Yardbirds medley for him, instrumental. And so I went to your channel because I loved all those records, but I never took the time to learn them. I was always trying to write songs and make 8-track demos or whatever. And
I was more like that too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing though, but you've created this platform where I went there as a professional musician going to play for Jimmy Page, going,
that freaks me out. That freaks me out.
How to do it,
You're freaking me out, and I have nothing to do with it. It freaked me out.
The thing about that, it's like kind of furthering what you're saying. It's like you never know what doors are going to open or how things are going to unfold. At that dinner, we finished playing our medley, and I went and sat down at the dinner table, and it was next to Chris Cornell.
Wow.
And he was just like, I took balls. And and I kind of laughed, and I was like, I'm so glad that's over, because it was like Jimmy Page, Ringo, Joe Walsh, Joe Perry, everybody there.
Wow.
Gibbons was there, and
wow.
I met Kirk Hammett there, and
all the Kirks,
I was freaking out. The phone rings a couple months later, and it was Cornell asking if we'd come play, the Shakedown would come play a show with him in Dallas as his backing band. And I was like, sick. And he goes, I want to do Hunger Strike. So I go to YouTube to see that video on it.
Wow.
We were on the AC/DC run whenever Brian Johnson lost his hearing or whatever happened. It's very unclear, which I love, because in this world where like everybody knows everything about everybody, AC/DC still has so much mystery where you're like, we don't know what they're doing.
And I almost feel like there's like 3 people's truths to that story.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, it's very rock and roll.
But that was a very fun tour, and also one of the only times in my life where I've made it a point to use 200-watt full stacks. You know,
I saw Cheap Trick behind his wall of amps. You know, he had this giant. This is like close to 20 years ago, but I was backstage, so I could see behind. He had this giant wall of amps. And you look behind it, they're all this super light balsa wood, and then in the middle was a 112 combo.
Killer.
In the middle of the whole.
I love that.
And there were like lights coming out and smoke and everything, but that's cool.
Showbiz. Well, Angus's were, there was like one day where I was out on the stage and then Tech was about to strum and someone came out and like grabbed me because they were like, if you're not prepared for it,
go,
you're going to be scared.
Yeah, what's going on with that guy's hearing?
I don't know. He's killing.
Yeah.
He's crushing. Those shows are like deafeningly loud, but I love rock and roll like that.
Yeah,
I go to a rock show to talk to anybody.
What do you think the loudest person you've ever heard was?
It would be AC/DC or sharing the stage with Jeff Beck, because he always had floor monitors and side fills. So he had when I was out with him, he had like a Marshall floor wedge pointing up at him, and then these side fills to where it was like when he played his guitar, it was like,
wow.
The voice of God or something.
Well, you've been able to hang with some pretty epic legends, dude.
Yeah, I've been very, very fortunate.
We talk about the brand of the guitar?
This is a company out of Saginaw, Michigan. It's called a Mule. I just love these resonator guitars. I've always kind of enjoyed playing in open tunings. That's how I learned to play slide.
Do you do open E or open G, or you just?
I like them all.
What are you in right now?
This is open G.
Let's hear it, man.
But this is one of the first things I learned on slide was. It's a sick sounding guitar though.
Love that.
Yeah.
That sounds so good. You just play through your regular amp, the same settings? And
Yeah. I love miking them up in the studio and playing them through the amp and all that, but
I could see where being married to a guitar player could get you guys in trouble with storage.
oh my gosh. We're in the process of building a studio from the ground up now, and it's like we're going, okay, we can fit X amount of guitars there, we can fit X amount of guitars, because at this point we have them in every room of our house pretty much.
Yeah. Are you building the studio at your house, or is it a separate location?
We're building it at our house, but yeah, it's in the back. We're getting the studio out of the house. I think it will be good for us to have some separation from where we live, and also, right now, our house is just, there's sound coming out of everything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But
I can imagine. You must have had a big SRV phase at some point.
100%, yeah. I had a big Stevie phase. In Texas, there's so many different styles of blues. So there was there were
Freddie King, right?
Freddie, but like even in the Dallas scene, there's like the guys who are loyal to Jimmy and the guys that are loyal to Stevie, and I was loyal to both. I'm like, I love all of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I got the Live at Elma combo DVD when I was a kid, and I stayed up all night for a long time watching that DVD.
And you had played guitar already?
Yeah, I played guitar. I'd sit there and try to figure it out,
There's the...
Yeah, he does that all the time, or the... That one is so beautiful, or the... I used to really dig in like that, and I hear some people, I've heard a lot of Texans say, I had to stop listening to Stevie. Because you listen to it, you want to do it. You're like, I want to drive that car,
Yeah.
The turnaround licking Pride and Joy where he's like... it's so tasteful. But then like in Dallas, there was this other guy named Anson Funderburg, and he had a band called Anson and the Rockets, and he was doing spins off of B.B. King licks, to where he was playing, there's like the strat tone like way back by the bridge that I loved, and he would that kind of approach to the blues, which I thought was so great too. But
I ask everyone, what's the first riff they ever learned?
the first riff I learned was like a Jimmy Reed shuffle, but the first real riff I learned was hey, you know what? I never quite figured out the. You know that part?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because he does a little something.
Yeah,
like that,
I never. That's the one part.
yeah, because you just
In a Texas
at that
Blues
point,
Jam, I always just kind of sit back and let someone else do it. You always point to someone
Well,
at that
because there's
part.
also the
Yeah.
but yeah. That's good.
Something like that. But everyone, I love that tune because everyone has their own way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's for you to do your own thing there,
Yeah.
not to copy. You
Totally.
never did, like, that's the thing that, with Hendrix, like,
Yeah.
like I've joked on social media where, like, it's live footage, and I'm like, oh, he's playing it wrong. Like, because,
Yeah.
that's what I hear a lot.
Yeah.
But the point is, the way you're saying that he's playing it wrong was the take that
Yeah.
they chose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He never played it that way, the same exact way.
I know. That's what's fun about this is like
Yeah.
you can never master it. You can always just play. And
Is there a riff or a song, or just name one? It doesn't have to be the number one.
Mm-hmm.
A riff or a song you wish you had written.
riff I wish I would have written with me.
Yeah.
All right, go solo. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah, man, that was rad.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, Tyler, thank you so much, man. I really enjoyed getting to hang with you, and it's like all I can do to not have a long conversation before we're actually rolling.
Yeah.
You know, and you
Yeah.
get like some of the best stories like before, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So I had to like wait till we were really rolling, but now I feel like, well, we played guitar together. That's
Yeah.
always going to bond.
Yeah, man.
But
Absolutely.
I felt like I got to know you a lot better, and I really appreciate you hanging out, just getting to hear more about you, and I wish you the best, man. I'll remind people again that you've got, what's the new album called?
It's called Electrified.
Electrified.
Yeah.
Nice and
Yeah.
to the point.
Yeah, thank you.
Very descriptive.
Yes.
So check out Electrified, but also all the other social media. And your wife is Rebecca.
Yeah.
From Lark and Poe.
Yeah.
That she plays in with her sister. Another amazing band. Congratulations on the Grammy.
Thank you.
Wish you so much success. Check out the links below. Tyler Bryant in the Shakedown. Everything else you could ever imagine. Psychedelic man.
Rock on, man. Thank you for having me.
Boot enthusiast. Yeah, we'll see you guys later.